Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to our live SCD 2026 recap fireside chat. My name is Cindy Wilfert. I'm Director Account Manager at NETFORMIC, and I'm incredibly excited to dive into the massive announcement from Wednesday, Shopware Community Day here in Cologne, Germany, alongside with Rob, my brilliant colleague located in the States. As a quick note before we begin, I'm stepping in today for our managing director, Timo Weltner, who unfortunately couldn't make it, but he sends his best regards to all of you. Okay, before we unleash the heavy tech, let's address just briefly who we are and why are we looking at these announcements through a very, very specific lens. At NETFORMIC, our promise is super simple. No fluff, no marketing sugarcoating. We are a Shopware Platinum partner with over 20 years of e-commerce experience and more than 80 successfully implemented Shopware projects since we started our Shopware partnership in 2012. We have a lot of Shopware experts. We don't just look at software from a marketing angle. So we live and breathe complex, advanced, ambitious B2B architectures, heavy ERP integration. Rob always says the obscurest ERP is where we start to have fun with, and really global expansion. And when we say global, we mean it. So we don't just understand European B2B. We have a very deeply rooted presence in North America with NETFORMIC USA, operating out of New York, Chicago, or Houston. So we digitize and optimize distribution networks, manufacturers on both sides of the Atlantic. To help us stay connected during and after the session, I will drop our LinkedIn profiles into the webinar chat in a minute. So please feel free to connect with Rob and myself. Just a little housekeeping before we start. So our today's session is being recorded. So no need to frantically screenshot every page. The video and the slides will land straight in your inbox on Monday. And we want this to be a very active conversation. So please throw your questions, doubts, or objections into the chat at any point. We have reserved a solid 15 minutes at the very end to address them live. And on that note, let me hand over to Rob. Please introduce yourself, Rob.
Well, thank you very much, Cindy. Let me emphasize the benefits that we have found here in the United States of Shopware. While it's much newer here, one of the reasons we've added Shopware to our lineup and indeed for B2B, our key offering, because not only is Shopware the newest platform on the market worldwide, it is the most aggressive in cutting in new features. And I think when you're going to hear the things that they have unleashed on the market, most of them are equally applicable in the United States. They're aimed at our goal. So I'll just step back and say one of the goals we took away from AI, and we just had a major summit of key developers on this a little bit before these announcements. One of our key things is to drive down the cost, right, of what we provide. We want to make it faster. We want to make it easier, and we and deliver better and as much as we can compress timelines. We're also looking to standardize, right? These announcements will help us in these goals. And it will help us across a number of the areas that we're looking at for smaller client, because you'll have the opportunity to cut these improvements in, right? Shopware generally include in their new releases their upgrades and things going on like that. The key thing for us is the MCP, the shopware experience, the cut in of all three of the major tools in our view of AI, and making things much more accessible, much more useful for not only us as the developers, but for you as clients in utilizing shopware across multiple industries and B2B opportunities. And so I think what you're going to find today is that we're going to actually be very specific about the releases. We're going to be very specific about our opinion, which we're going to have an EU side and we're going to have a US side, right? The business is different. The approach is different. Decision making is different. But in the end, the opportunity is the same. And that's what's exciting about this.
And the business model, B2B business models are quite similar. So, I mean, of course, taxes or other things are completely different. But the true challenge a B2B customer has is very similar on both sides of the pond. So maybe that is why Shopware is so interesting for B2B customers on both sides of the Atlantic.
Totally agreed. And the other thing that is exciting about NETFORMIC, right, in our discussions with major partners, and we are major partners with all of our key offerings, right? It's one of the benefits that we bring, is now the ability for scaling B2B, the US to Europe, Europe to the US, is actually really found in NETFORMIC, right? We're being lauded as really the key independent, more mid-size system integrator that can actually do the work instead of having to hire Accenture. So
let's dig a little deeper in what actually is the big picture Shopware announced. And I think we have 3 layers. What do you think?
No, I completely agree. Right, the agentic layer, we're going to spend some time on. The Copilot intelligence, I think, is incredibly important for the U.S. market, where reporting and getting data out and enabling the business, the business users as opposed to the technical users, is really important for us. The next one that we've got listed here is Nexus and Shopware Payment. I think Nexus is an incredible breakthrough. We will get very deep into it. The orchestration and transaction, right, is really what's important in building on top of that. And as highlighted here, what you're going to see is between the infrastructure layer, the ability to handle command line interface for our developers, being able to move faster, being able to work faster, more efficiently with ERPs, PIMs, large scale systems that are really totally inclusive in the entire structure of an American B2B business, we tend to have more disparate systems, unconnected systems. That's why one of the key things we're good at is API development. My excitement is on the infrastructure layer. Shopware is going to make it, and the agentic layers, the command lines, they're going to make it really easy for us to do integration with known systems. And I'll add the Shopware Pass system that they are bringing in. They're automating updates. They're going to keep the infrastructure on the most current, the most up-to-date system. You can still cut it in, right? Because it's Pass, you aren't forced into an upgrade. That, we believe, is really big in terms of the United States. But simply, unlike a number of other platforms, they haven't put AI on top of what you're doing. They haven't tried to glue together things and make them appear that there's benefit. And most of the benefit being brought elsewhere is really around the business user, the presentation layer. Where Shopware has really invested is in tools for us as your developers.
Exactly. And having a look at those layers, those 3 layers, just when you have a very superficial look at it, you might think that Shopware tries to reinvent themselves as a suite, but actually not, because it still stays open, completely open. So with those layers, those announcements, they're adding options. And I think that's really very, very interesting. So you still have the full control, you still have the full complexity, but Shopware is adding options that are logical consequences of the market development, or simply our tech development too.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Now, one thing about the U.S. market, right, is we have a lot more laws. We are not as simplified, if you will, across the entire EU. So we have to handle a number of, especially for our regulated industries, right? We have to handle things from California to New York to Minnesota, to all the regional differences between U.S. laws, operations, and this is going to help us do that really, really well.
Okay, so let's have a look at the different layers. First of it, Pass.
Yeah. So, we have always recommended to our clients to be on a Pass, right? It gives you significantly more control over your business. It keeps your business private. It creates the ability to make sure your customizations are well controlled. Now, the Shopware Pass offering, right, as a managed cloud environment, creates some interesting options that we will take a look at and we will examine, right? We're going to really think about how does that change the infrastructure, because this is a major change on Shopware. How does it scale? How will it help us on deployments? What are the speed advantages to our clients in terms of our ability to deploy? As well as we need to understand, right, your need for virtually instant reaction on the user layers, right? The expectations today are extremely high.
Yeah.
I get incredibly frustrated if a site isn't responding immediately. So that's where you know, the pass will shine. We have 100% control still over the code. We can be very careful about how we deploy, because there are a lot of customizations, a lot of different connections, a lot of different software that we connect to here in the United States.
Absolutely, but still, pass is not for everyone. So, and we still have the option to do on-prem, and so I think just we have the freedom to select for our customers what is really needed and what fits best to the business model.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know, I think in the age of cloud, particularly if you have large seasonality, there are real advantages to pass. But some of our customers have incredibly large infrastructure and investments, and it just makes sense to have it on-prem.
Absolutely, and there's more to the infrastructure layer. So I think that is really interesting. So first of all, there's the core, the performance of the current 6.7 version. They invested massively on performance.
Yeah,
which is very good news for a lot of our customers. And the MCP coverage too is very exciting. It's very exciting news.
Yeah, I completely right. The MCP UCP coverage really gives incredibly structured and reusable capabilities to our customers. Right, the automation AI tools. You know, I'll give you an example. Shopware has cut in, and we'll talk about it, but they've cut in essentially the three major AI tools. They've brought in Anthropic, they've brought in OpenAI, and they've brought in Copilot. And using these, they have created a native capability for you to be able to interact with those, to be able to bring together incredible capabilities to use voice. One of the benefits has always been workflow in Shopware. It is a huge enabler to our customers to do things without calling us and coding it. Now, you know, one of the benefits is the Copilot AI, allowing you to use your voice, tell the workflow what you want it to do. I want to cut in a marketing plan. It needs to run from this date to this date. I want to give it, you know, this coupon code. I want to be able to have it display from, you know, in these particular cases. I want to include certain customers, exclude certain customers. And what I just said will actually create the workflow to do those kinds of things. That's downright amazing for our customers. And I love bringing cutting edge simplification to our customers, right? It makes it easier. It removes us doing, you know, what is relatively simple support for a developer, but Shopware has always been pushing things into the hands of the business people. And I think that's absolutely key. The other thing about the layer, right, is speed and performance. Shopware is incredibly performant on display for most of our customers. Extremely complex, high SKU, a lot of things that have to be displayed. Not just, you know, a nice UI layer with some very lovely graphics, but deep, intense calls to your ERP or to your PIM to be able to display on your website. And this is a huge performance update.
Speaking of ERP and PIMs, let's move forward to an announcement. I know both of us were really excited. The Shopware Nexus. So this orchestration layer they built inside Shopware.
Completely agreed. This is something we will be studying deeply, right? This is, for us, right, a game changer. In fact, I was mentioning, we sent our Shopware architect, for example, to this event in Germany. He came back to me and reported that a lot of the things in development we thought we would have to do that would be core to the customers being able to get more benefit out of Shopware. He said, we don't have to make the investment. We can immediately use what Shopware is cutting in, and that is the Shopware Nexus, right? The orchestration, the capability for us to do deeper integrations, to be able to pull information out of your ERP. You can connect to Slack. I'm not a Slack fan. I don't even use it, but we can connect it to other things. Don't worry. And check your stock levels, right? Inventory is often something that is not up to date. It's only updated once a day in many previous cases. Most of the time we're working very hard to get it down to, within a minute, within less in some cases where there's extremely high volume. This orchestration makes it incredibly easy and honestly faster. We have to examine, how does this change what we're doing as your partner to deliver these kinds of changes, to these kinds of benefits that we're going to be able to incorporate, and in many cases, right, pass on to our customers. I do want to talk a little bit about listing performance. I missed that one, right? The performance is expectation is a 200% improvement in your catalog display. So when I say faster, I mean faster. It's a big improvement.
Absolutely. Some people who know their Shopware backend might be confused. So with, hey, Nexus, so workflows, so what's different between the Flow Builder and the Nexus? And actually, this is really interesting. The Flow Builder was always there for creating structured workflows within Shopware. Nexus now goes really beyond internal Shopware workflows. It's built to orchestrate really processes across systems, connecting Shopware really with the broader technology landscape, as you mentioned, the ERPs, the PIMs, and other third-party platforms. And I think that's really important to be very clear about, that this is not just an enhanced flow builder, but the Nexus is really something fundamentally new.
It is, and our ability to connect to a variety of ERPs is honestly, in my opinion, a game changer versus anyone else we work with. It's huge.
Let's move forward. Yeah, agentic. Yeah, it's the buzzword, but still, I mean, really, it comes to life now. Slowly, it comes to life, or very fast. It will be. It will be our everyday business.
Yeah. No, I agree. You know, this is really big. So Shopware is the first for B2B to include Claude OpenAI to be able to have actually direct access into the commerce layer, right? It is set up for agentic commerce. Now, what does that mean? It is able to bring in search for product, really important in a general search capability, right? So if you're an electrical supplier, right, you get to be able to much more easily and attractively, and I mean like a magnetic attraction for agentic commerce to be able to come look at what you have in your catalog to attract buyers, and your current customers can use, and I believe truly will set up agentic reordering, agentic search for the new products, agentic capabilities to understand changes in pricing, right? Agentic shopping, you know, true end-to-end shopping, you know, I think that is a big push in retail. But I think for B2B buyers, it's going to be about comparison, selection, reordering. I don't think it will be completely order automatic, at least it's initially, right? Some things are engineering products. They're still going to need review. And I'm not sure the human element is in B2B 100% ready for, you know, thought to order. There's review, there's POs, there's a lot of complexity in buying, but that's all the people will be evaluating, right? Agentic will bring in great choices. It will inform the buyer, and then they're really down to evaluating product, right, to make sure it's accurate, and checking you know, its ability to be purchased under whatever agreements you have with your vendors, or your, I should say, actually that just occurred to me. This could be used in vendor situations just as much.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, the ability of AI to create new paradigms on things is really important.
Yeah.
But here's what's really important in agentic: guardrails. Guardrails are huge. Data governance, being able to provide very detailed, you know, creating a world around it as to what's really important. Therefore, okay, I think we're down to what's really important and the question for everyone to see, right? And that is, what's our real review? I think we're going a little over because I'm very windy, Cindy. Am I right?
Just lost me for a second. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe we're going a little over, but still, I think it's real great content what we have here. Let me share the slides again.
Please.
Start presentation. Here we go. So
Great.
sorry.
No.
So, and here with our yes call to action here, our try it badge right here. For all of you who have a Shopware shop, the beta for Copilot Agentic was just released, so you can test these plain text prompts in your admin environment. So just to get started or to explore it or to see what has value for your business.
Yeah.
So let's move forward.
Yes.
Something that was more or less expected, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, with PayPal as investor, Rob, what do you think on Shopware payments?
Well, I think it enables a lot of things. This is one area I will reserve a little bit of judgment, right? I need to examine this. I did hear about this previously here in the United States. We tried to have some conversations with PayPal, right? It's really about rolling it out in the EU first. I think that PayPal isn't really a payment system that we're particularly used to in the B2B market in the United States. So we'll take advantage of a number of things being built into the infrastructure, right? Automated refunds, being able to make sure that we work on the flows that they're building in. We'll take a look at the carts and those options. And then the other thing that we need to understand, right? A lot of our customers are really good size and have pre-negotiated rates with with merchant accounts and credit cards and we do some custom PO systems. So I don't know how this will work out in the United States. I think it's a great thing for Europe, and one of the reasons Shopware and PayPal are married up.
Then let's have a look at part of Shopware that is not completely new. I mean, they had the B2B suite, and they already launched a couple of B2B components, and the B2B components had this modular idea. So whatever the B2B suite was, this take it or leave it, and with B2B components, more or less you can pick whatever you need.
Right.
But it's a different concept. So it's with this modular approach, it's a different concept. But Shopware just added two additional B2B components that have a high value for B2B customers, like the organization units and budgets and rule-based price books.
Yeah.
I think those are really interesting for a lot of B2B merchants.
Well, I completely agree, right? These are the features that are really core to what we do, and in many cases, I'm trying to see. There's a chat thing. Organization, being able to have hierarchy in purchasing, employee limiting. How do you handle your account? Lots of accounts have pre-negotiated rates, negotiated contracts. These are real advantages we're going to have to look at in detail. How do we cut this in for our customers? And this is why we're saying we need to create a roadmap on how to do this. This is extremely complex, typically in the USA, but I'm really excited about if on the go forward, it makes it easier to do these things.
Absolutely. So let's round things up. Spatial Experience Studio, all the great stuff, the very front-end driven stuff.
Yeah. Look, the CAD to 3D conversion I saw operating, it's fantastic, right? This is often a complex offering where we've had to use outside offerings, being able to put in the CAD drawing and model and be able to create, a very lightweight, spinnable, explodable conversion that allows you tremendous opportunity to display your benefits technically is huge.
Absolutely. But since we're doing a lot of PIM projects too, let's face the reality. Don't start doing this before your data is not ready, right?
Yeah. We encourage everyone, every client, the number one problem in implementing an enterprise system for your commerce is, I will talk to prospects all the time and say, well, is your data complete? Do you have gaps? Do you need, augmentation? Do you need to be able to create more automated descriptions? I mean, you go on, and there is no one I talk to who says, I don't need that. Period.
Agree. Okay, so what's your summary? What's your summary? Is it a game changer,
my summary
or yes
is,
or no?
Yeah, no, this is a huge yes. This is, in my opinion, this is the biggest announcement since Shopware rewrote to Shopware 6. This is something we will absorb. We're going to spend a lot of time on. We're going to evaluate, and we'll come to our customers with recommendations, right? And what I highly encourage is, let's take 30 minutes. Let's do an audit with you. We'll do it one-to-one, specific to your setup. Talk to you about what are the things that will immediately improve your business quickly, effectively, at a huge ROI, and we can create a longer-term roadmap of things you may want to take a look at. A lot of things will become natively offered, right? That is also huge, right? And we'll have a very good ability to look at, does it affect any customizations? This is huge.
Great. Do you think it has equal impact in Europe and US?
That's a great question. I think that Europe will gain benefit faster because of the number of Shopware implementations, the consistency of how they do things. In the USA, I think we're going to take a little bit more time to think through the customizations and how do we apply it to things that haven't been applied before, right? We have different WMS. We have a number of unique and obscure ERPs that are very industry specific. Those things we're going to have to think through, and we will be, for all of our customers.
Great. Always a pleasure, Rob, doing a webinar with you.
Oh, no. Yeah. And everyone who knows you here, Cindy, loves you. So 100%. You are an absolutely great colleague to work with. Thanks for putting this together.
Oh, thank you. And now we have a question. Jacqueline had a question. So
great.
What are our thoughts on the new Shopware AI solution regarding EU usage, regarding GDPR and other data transfer, especially with the external connection to Anthropic? So let us have a look at it. So first of all, Shopware explicitly engineered its multi-model AI infrastructure to route and process store data within the European data census. So your sensitive business metrics, customer databases, and B2B contract books are natively protected inside secure and isolated environments. Now let's have a look at Anthropic and Claude data flow.
Yeah.
Connecting to external models like Anthropic's Claude introduces, of course, a risk if, but only if queried through standard public US APIs. So, but the Shopware wants to secure these workflows to commercial API parameters that strictly prohibit that the data is used for the LLM training, and they can be routed through secure AU-based cloud inference endpoints to keep data processing legally bound within the European borders. I mean, that's just a short overview, but this is where it's something that Shopware takes very serious, and they have a very close look at the protection of the data and how it works for the customers. And yeah, the EU is especially fond of protecting data. So this is, I'm convinced that this is something that will continue to be high on their priority list.
Yeah, I agree. If you're building to GDPR standards in Europe, which Shopware always is going to do, that tends to be a little bit, well, it is stricter than what we have in the United States. So you already get better control. A number of our key customers, we've developed private LLMs. We've already separated things. And because it's API driven, we can give a lot of guardrails to the entrance and usage of any of the AIs. And I think that's really important, and why the native connection to the AIs out of Shopware is a game changer.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I would say that's it for today.
I think we've taken enough time of everyone. Thank you so much for coming and listening. We will send this out to you. And I'll also encourage, and we'll be using our report to really help customers. And you know, there's just some great written follow-up. Slides and an audio isn't always the same as being able to go through and really pull out key methods, key summaries, and key capabilities that as you apply your AI to our report.
Well, thanks again. Have a great weekend later. And yeah, see you or hear you or text you, whatever. Bye.